Hi, this is Dan Encell with Prudential California Realty. It is Friday, October 9th, and I just returned from my travels to Europe, had a wonderful time, and had a curious adventure that involved a buffalo nickel. So I wanted to share that. While I was traveling, I slept. It was a nighttime flight there, and I slept on the flight, and I woke up the next morning and looked out in the aisle, and there was a coin in the aisle. I sort of groggily stared at it for a while, and then went up to brush my teeth and looked down on it, and it was a buffalo nickel. And so I reached down and picked it up and realized that it had fallen out of my pocket. For years I've actually kept a buffalo nickel in my pocket. I think it's a beautiful coin and sort of an interesting reminder of some American history there. So I travel with it, and it's sort of a good luck charm there. And so I was very thankful, figured it rolled out of my pocket, and so I picked it up and put it back in my pocket there, and thankful that I hadn't lost it. Well, as I put it back in my pocket, I felt around, and my buffalo nickel was still in there. So now all of a sudden I had two buffalo nickels there. And these things are not very common. They quit making them in the 1930s. So there's probably a handful of people in the country who travel around with them in their pocket like I do, but probably not very many. So I realized that the person who had lost it probably would miss it quite a bit. So I went around to people on the airplane anywhere around there and asked them if it belonged to them, and they looked at me like it was pretty weird that I was asking them about a nickel, but none of them claimed it there. So I went back to my seat and told my wife about it, and told her that whoever had it was probably pretty disappointed that they didn't still have it. So I was going to continue my search to find the rightful owner there. And as we were disembarking the plane there, I saw a gentleman a couple rows up, much further away from the coin than I would have thought, but seemed like a likely candidate for it, where he appeared to be Native American and young guy there. So I chased him down through the airport in Switzerland and finally caught up with him, and I asked him, told him the story and asked him if it was his nickel. And he said, no, not mine, but appreciate you asking. And so not much came of it. And then went through Europe and Italy and Monte Carlo and France, and then back at the end of the trip in Switzerland at the airport. My wife and I are getting ready to get back on the plane, and who walks up but the same guy that I chased down through the airport a week ago. And he laughed and asked if I'd found the owner for the nickel, and said no. And we sort of talked about how the odds of two of those nickels on the same plane were probably about 1,000,000,000 to 1 there. But talked to the guy for hours. He ended up sitting next to us on the flight home there, and wonderful, fascinating guy. And so although didn't find the rightful owner for the nickel, certainly made a new friend out of it, and so it was productive in that. And as it turned out, this gentleman and his wife and family are planning on moving to Montecito. So small world. It's my buffalo nickel story.